Hi, Armored Pants here, and I have another video for you in the French line. This is the Tier 5, the BDR Heavy Tank, and we have a complete guide for you. Now, firstly, we will have a look at the tech spec, as we always do, using the brilliant asset for all blitzers, blitzhanger.com. After Tier 4, you did the B1 tank, which is also a heavy tank. But now you're up with the big boys in Tier 5, and this really is a heavy tank, and very typical of heavy tanks, with many of the attributes you associate with that genre of tanks. If you haven't already, please watch the heavy tank guide I have on channel, because that will teach you how to play, at least teach you the basics of how to play heavy tanks well, and what they should do, what their purpose is, their objectives, etc. Now this tank has a really nice gun. When you use the top gun, it's a 90mm gun, and so it does a significant amount of damage. As you can see, it has great pen on the AP and the APCR. You will pen anything, even if up tiered, against tier 6 heavies like the 3601H or the KV1S, etc. And it has decent pen on the HE as well. So bear that in mind, because it's a 90mm gun. It will go through quite a lot of the smaller lightly armed tanks, light tanks, and of course it will go through sides and back of a lot of medium tanks as well, and that will increase your alpha rolls and your DPM. Now the tank is relatively mobile, does 32 kilometers an hour in a straight line, and for example it's more mobile, let's say, than its one of its direct competitors in the tier, the KV1, which we also have a review on channel. It has a good armor profile, as you'd expect from a heavy tank, but the cupola is exposed, and this is a major weakness on this tank. It's also quite high up, so if you're trying to cover, let's say behind some rocks, etc., often the cupola sticks over, and an experienced player will put rounds into that cupola all day long. So therefore, this is a weakness on this tank, and this cupola is really a vulnerable part of it. You can angle up this tank to get the max effectiveness on the armor, and you can see here, if you look at the armor numbers, by angling up on the sides you can get some decent relative armor numbers going. If we add in the external modules, you see they're exposed on the sides, back and front, so therefore I would recommend running 2 repair kits, because those tracks are exposed. But I said the tank is relatively mobile for a heavy, especially compared to its direct competitors like KV1, Churchills, etc. So therefore you don't need the engine accelerator, so get that extra repair kit in. You can see on the sides, again, you can get some angles, you will be able to side scrape a bit in it, but of course the tracks may be damaged in that, so again, that's why we use the 2 repair kits. It has some spaced armor protecting the tracks a little bit, but front on and at the back the tracks can be damaged easily. If we look at, if it's a top tier against tier 4s, it's good front on. Against tier 5 and tier 6, not so much, and it can be penned, particularly by the 75mm guns that you have quite frequently running around on medium tanks in tier 5. They will be able to pen you even front on. In terms of tactics, it's not really recommending too much. I mean, it's decent in a brawl because its traverse speed is not so bad. It also has a big gun that can do lots of damage. It can go front line if you are top tier, but if you are up tiered, you need to be quite careful, because you can get hit for massive alpha rolls. And in the gameplay that we're going to look at, you will see that I'm actually up tiered. So I'm in a tier 5 tank, and it's in a supremacy tier 6 game. But nonetheless, I'm able to do relatively well in the game, get a mastery badge, etc. So the tank can handle itself, but if you are up tiered, you just need to be a little bit more careful. I mean, the gun at 90mm will certainly penetrate a lot of the tanks in tier 6 if up tiered, even with normal AP rounds. But with APCR, you're definitely guaranteed to penetrate everything, even the big tier 6 heavies. So let's have a look at the gameplay. So it is Port Bay, and it is a supremacy game. So we're just moving off here. We see here it has the RL44 in this game too, which is the next tank up from this. That RL hasn't been fully upgraded, it still has that really horrendous turret on it. If you do go to the RL44 after this, please upgrade that turret as quickly as possible. Use credits, gold, whatever you got, use it and get rid of that horrible turret, and it is a dog out to handle as well. But anyway, we'll digress. We'll get back to that when we go on to the RL44 in the next videos. Now we're going to capture here. I want to capture B, because looking at the setup at the start I realised that going to C might be a bit suicidal. So we decided to capture B and then see if we can get A as well. There's a couple of nice bounces here, and you'll see the turret in action, so the turret strength in action. So I pop around here, I fire off a round into the Churchill, and I get 2 bounces there. So we'll see here, if we look at instant replay, we can slow it down and see the bounces in action. I fire off the round, and I get 1, 2 bounces, 160 hit points each straight off the turret, and that is the turret in action. So that's 320 damage block there. Really nice, nice start to the game. Plus my own round went through. So cumulative damage, if we look at the hit point pool philosophy of gameplay, cumulative damage there of something around 550 in total damage there. Another block there, angled up a little bit, got a bit lucky too, got a nice block there as well from the tier 6. Again, put a nice round in there. You see how the gun is pretty good, the gun is reliable, and it will do nice alpha rolls for you. Now I could switch up to HE there, but I left it at AP because I know there's a lot of enemy tanks around, and just in case I had to engage quickly with a heavy, I didn't want to have to change the shell, so I left the AP there. You can see what I mean. The standard AP round in action, 90mm gun goes straight through that big heavy, and no bother at all. And here again, straight through. Again, I haven't changed to HE because I don't know if I'm gonna. I mean, the plan is to engage the T-34, and I could have used HE and the his back. But we've got the KV-1S not running around, and I know that I may have to engage him too, so I didn't want to waste time again on shell selection. I'm trying to save the scent here, so I wanted to track him, and that was my objective there, to try to save the Sentinel. And I did track him, but unfortunately repair kit goes around, and before I can put another round in, he actually is able to kill the Scent. So oh, actually no, the Scent got away, but he gets killed there, so my efforts were in vain. I knew he got smacked, but I'm actually get a bit of revenge from here on the Stug, take the Stug out, and now we're in a nice comfortable situation. I'm going to cap here, and then we're in a 4v2, plus we've got 2 bases. And as we always say, supremacy is about taking bases. We often overlook that. Supremacy is not so much just about killing the enemy. And quite often, and I'm sure you've experienced it yourself, there's 1 tank left against 3 or 4 on your team, and the enemy wins because they've capped. And as I say here, this cap saves the game, because supremacy is about capturing bases. And if I hadn't capped there was a good chance we would have lost this game. But by capping, it also alters the game plan of the enemy. So what do I mean by that? Well, in this case, this VK2601 has to come down because he knows he needs to cap or get a kill. So I'm going to put a nice snapshot into him there. In many ways, he's probably doing the sensible thing. Again, we see the snapshot of how good the gun is. I like this 90mm gun on this, I think, and to me the gun handling is good. And it behaves quite well. It's quite well balanced characteristics. Now, I think the VK made probably the right decision to go after the low hit point ally on my team to try to get that kill, because that would stop us winning. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to get there in time. But as I said, you know, it's relatively low damage for a tier 5, tier 6 mastery. It's less than 2k, but of course the mastery badges are given on XP, not on damage alone. And the XP was for spotting up there, for capturing the bases. Captured B, and then the last base I capped, which actually probably saved and won the game for us. Plus then I did the highest amount of damage too, so that delivered the mastery badge. And I got a Confederate too, which is always nice to get, particularly when you're the lower tier. It shows you're really supporting and are being a team player. So let's have a look at the recap of the key points of this tank, the good, the bad and the ugly. This is a solid tier 5 tank, solid tier 5 heavy tank, but I do believe it's inferior to the KV1, perhaps one of its direct competitors. It has a great gun which is accurate, reliable, and does nice alpha rolls. I have to say, I really enjoy pumping some rounds into the enemy with that gun. Use the supercharge and the refined gun so that you can snipe from long distance, because we know heavy tanks often have to engage from long distance, and that 90mm gun is a great pen, but it does have a slow rate of fire, so you need to be aware of that. The armour is good, it's decent, but there are too many weak points on the tank. There are weak points on the front of the tank, as we saw when we looked at armour. It's armour inspector. The sides and back in particular, the sides are a big target. If you've played against, you've probably smashed a lot of rounds into the sides of this tank, and the cupola again is a nightmare. I mean, it's slower than medium tanks, but I mean, it's faster than the KV1, so that's not such a drawback for it. And overall, it's a decent tank, but it does have weak points, especially that cupola. It really sticks out, and it really is a shell magnet on this tank. And you'll find when you play it that even when you think you're in cover, that cupola is sticking up there. An experienced player will put a round into it and damage you even when you think you're in cover, and it sort of negates some of the angling you can do with side scraping, etc. on the tank. That big cupola there makes it very difficult to always bounce shots. The RL44 is next in line, but I would take my time in getting there because this tank you need to master first, because moving up to tier 6 is a big jump. So take your time, play lots with this beforehand. Cheers much, thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, pants off.